Hello everyone and welcome to my review of Going Under, a business brawler beat-em-up roguelike about a disgruntled intern versus a goofy yet dangerous corporation. You play as our main character Jacqueline, the new intern who with the help of some of her eccentric co-workers works together to gain various perks, rewards, and items to help assist her in gathering relics from failed startups that have, gone under. So is Going Under a fun, interesting, and brand new indie game that's gonna do something new for the roguelike formula, or is it just another so-so beat 'em up in the mixture of 2020? Without further ado, let's delve into it. The gameplay consists of you going into 3 separate dungeons, each with unique themes, the first of which being a typical coffee shop startup with tons of references that make fun of various food recipes, cafe terms, along with gameplay changes like cappuccinos that speed your character up, and a plethora of unique enemy types that are all variations on the Joblins. The Joblin location starts as a wonderful intro to the game, and a really nice way to get acquainted with the perks and controls, which brings me to our first round of positives. The gameplay in the roguelike loop is insanely addictive. You run around these tiny and open arenas that randomly generate all of your available equipment, and in Going Under, basically everything can be used as a weapon, from laptops and keyboards to dropped enemy swords and even wacky stuff like bean bombs. There's a whole slew of combat potential, and thanks to the honestly incredible camera and Z targeting features for locking onto foes, it never feels too cumbersome. Every weapon has an incredible weight and feel to combat, and swords, they feel fast and responsive, clubs have a bit of a wind up and heavy reward, charge attacks feel cathartic to unleash, combat has this spring to it like I've never felt before. It's a nice mixture of, strangely enough, something like Dark Souls for those one-on-one encounters and Breath of the Wild, which, why Breath of the Wild? Well, it's pretty simple. Weapons break constantly. Yeah, you heard it here first. They break pretty often, around every 4 to 5 rooms, depending on the durability of your weapon, which means you gotta switch up your inventory quite often, and that's one thing you really have to keep your eye on. Sure, there are ways you can upgrade durability, maybe through the RNG app, which can either upgrade attack speed, durability, or your attack power, but again, that's randomly generated. Sometimes, more often than not, you're gonna have to scramble to find a new weapon if it breaks, or if you're lucky, find something of the same type to keep your inventory fresh. Now, say there's a weapon you really enjoy and you're afraid it's gonna break on you. Do you hold on to that? Do you scour the roguelike randomly generating dungeons to find the same weapon to keep onto it? Maybe you'll find a better upgraded version laying around. This is all part of the game. These are all types of mechanics that you have to keep out for, and it adds for a really fun loop to make sure you can hold on to the absolute beast class of weapons that you want to carry on your dungeon adventure. It's a really nice system, and it really incentivizes you to constantly switch it up and try something new, and who knows, you might find a new favorite throughout that tiny little adventure you're going to go through in each dungeon run. You also have 2 different power-ups / perks to use throughout the course of the game, apps that do immediate damage or status effects, from increasing speeds to summoning a minion to fight with you, and inside shops where you save up cash to buy yourself extra health or hearts to, or of course, perks to keep your character on the up and up. Perks can range from dealing double damage after taking a hit, to giving you 4 shields after losing a heart, and even status effect things that can affect your character model directly, like changing 2-handed weapons to 1-handed, etc. If you use these perks for dungeon runs and make it quite far while using them, you can later unlock these perks for use at a kiosk, letting you start future runs with at least 1 perk of your choosing out of the gate. This goes double for mentors. If you collab with co-workers and take on their side quests, you can unlock a team ability ranging from characters who could shoplift a few items from the store for you, giving you explosive sodas, and yes, giving you an app store to handpick the applications you want to use during runs. These all go into making your runs feel completely customizable. It goes from a game that's pretty difficult, making you feel kind of helpless and on your own, to a game where you feel that kind of small budding friendship and being able to use all of these things at your disposal to make your runs as fluent and as tailored to how you play as possible. And I really like that touch of the game. Of course, it's not a fun beat 'em up without some great enemy variety, and thankfully this game has it in spades. Each location offers awesome enemies. We have the Styx coin miners, my personal favorite and the most challenging types of baddies in my opinion to overcome, as their pickaxe and wide AoE swings make for some tricky combat, along with the mech construction workers who often rain rocks above and throw dynamite around like it's nothing. Couple that with hackers who could turn the lights out, and an armor giving hype beast bard, and yeah, it gets very crazy very quickly, setting up for the most infuriating encounters the game has to offer, and my personal most deaths. Oh, yeah, they got chain chomps too. Forgot to mention that. And not only that, their shopkeeper happens to be Sans. Like, the jokes here really go crazy. Styx Coin was my personal favorite to traverse, mainly because the combat and jokes really go hand in hand here. The second of which being a Winky Dink, a Tinder mockery of sorts. This entire dungeon had me crying, like, no joke, just pure laughter. It's up there with the hype beast mining skeletons and stick coins. Like, seeing waifu imp girls and literal simps that curl into a ball and hide from your attacks, it's just flat out hilarious to me, all while grabbing weapons like body pillows, pitchforks, water guns, and other emoji funnies. Heck, you even actually fight an emoji. You drop emoji text onto enemies that have, you know, full emotion wind-ups before attacks and stuff. It's really good fun. It's just great fun. The gameplay and level design is just clean. Arenas are a blast to explore and often give just enough cover and have enough sweet varied traps to keep gameplay consistently fun. The humor and wit is a fun mixture of that Gen Z and millennial jokes, I suppose. I guess there's no other way I can really describe it. They honestly usually hit for me, especially reading item descriptions and talking to storekeepers. And learning more about your coworkers' life in the office and seeing what they're up to really lets you relate to some of their hardships and feel for their personalities. It makes you really want to do what you can to help them out and lighten the load off their shoulders just a little bit, even if you are just that unpaid intern. Graphically speaking, this game is super pretty. Colors are vibrant and pop, and everything looks ridiculous sometimes with the physics, and the lanky character model is all equal to this really fun cartoonish vibe the game carries, and the enemy design is simply pleasing to the eyes, and the character art that's drawn simply looks fantastic. It's all really stunning stuff. Environmentally speaking, it's incredible what they do with the camera here. Usually games, especially isometric ones, have these very janky cameras, making it really hard to tell, you know, where the action's gonna be, and sometimes the lock-ons are just very unfun. But in this game, they have this sick X-ray vision-esque filter that never cuts off where you are from the action, and it looks insane at points. Also ran at a very smooth 120 to 160 FPS on my PC, which is always a nice touch for action type games. Sure, it does have a couple of bugs here and there, some even soft locking my game, or cameras getting a little too close up during, I guess, enemy cutscenes or whatever, and kind of soft locking you. But aside from those small gripes, it's a really standout experience that's easy to control and gorgeous to look at. Going Under is an awesome little roguelike title with a story that's definitely eccentric, has an appealing cast of characters, and an addictively satisfying combat loop that's most importantly has a ton of heart. And for a first indie game by devs Aggro Crab, I really think they have a long history of bangers ahead of them. I loved Going Under, and I really recommend you guys check this one out. Alright, that's gonna do it for my video, guys. I hope you all enjoyed. Didn't want to get too much into spoilers or story or anything, because this is a game you really should experience. It only took me around 10 hours or so. It's a very short one, probably actually a little less. I put in a bunch more hours and went back and did some dungeons and all, but it's a really fun game, and I really recommend you guys check it out. Thank you all so much for watching this video. If you enjoyed, please leave a like, comment, and subscribe down below, and keep up with me on twitter.com to chat. Have a good one.